You good to go?
We're always good to go.
Excellent. Hello, world. So we are live from the day 2 of Beach City's digital nomad tour in Chiang Mai.
From Australia to Thailand.
Exactly.
I love it.
And with me here is Johnny FD.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Thank you for coming and speaking with us, Johnny. I know you are very busy these days. There's some big stuff coming up for you in over the next couple of days, right?
Yeah, so we are hosting the 4th annual Nomad Summit here in Chiang Mai. We've been having this big annual conference for 4 years in a row now. And this year is actually the easiest year because I have so much good help. I have Stephanie Simon and I have Kara J. Matthews, who is just kicking butt at organizing. So it actually makes my life a lot easier.
Right. Yeah, we're looking forward to that, and we will be there as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk a little bit more about the Nomad Summit for sure. But before we do that, let's rewind a little bit. You've done a lot of things, Johnny. We're not going to be able to cover it all now, for sure. But one of the things you've done is you've written. Oh,
If you guys are wondering why I keep
Right.
sinking in my chair, we're on this new fresh grass in front of a new co-working space, and we just like keep sinking in. But I think we'll be okay.
it's
This is
just
part of the struggles of
yeah.
travel.
Exactly. So yeah, we're at the Pun Space, their new branch. So maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Pun Space as well as an
Yeah.
institution here in Chiang Mai. We'll get back to that as well. But first, you wrote a book what was the first book you wrote?
It was called 12 Weeks in Thailand: The Good Life on the Cheap, and I
Right.
think a lot of the Aussies watching this are gonna like it
Right.
because it's really about just escaping, the kind of mundane, overpriced, normal life back home. So I had a good job. I was making 50 grand a year, but 50 grand a year in San Francisco makes you pretty poor. And I'm sure it's the same thing in Sydney or Melbourne, a lot of the bigger cities.
Norway for me. Oslo.
Norway,
Yeah.
that's gonna be expensive. And it's, you're working all these hours for really nothing, and you might be able to get by, but you're not gonna be able to save money, you're not gonna be able to have great experiences, you're not really gonna be able to travel and enjoy yourself. So when I first discovered how cheap it is to live and travel in Thailand,
Right.
I did it for 4 years, and I wrote a book about it called 12 Weeks in Thailand.
Right.
Because mostly I would do these, 3-month trips, 12 weeks at a time. I would come out here. I would either do scuba diving, or I'd do Muay Thai, or just either backpack around, and really kind of just live the good life on the cheap. And I would go back home and work a bit. And I know a lot of people, watching this probably do the same.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people watching this, are wondering about, okay, what's that first step like? Okay, so now you worked, you saved up money, you went traveling, which we all do, and then you started working while you were traveling. How did that the very first beginning of that? How did that come about?
Yeah, so my first way to make money was I was a dive master. So I would take people scuba diving, and I really loved it because if you have a passion, whether it's skydiving, scuba diving, photography or whatever it is, if you can make money while traveling and while doing it,
Right.
that's the great first step.
Right.
The only reason why I moved away from that to online business is because I realized, hey, at some point I'm not going to want to wake up at 6 in the morning and go diving every day for the rest of my life. I don't want to become that grumpy old guy that is just dreading life, even though his life is magical. He's living in Thailand on this island, and he feels stuck. He's
Right.
been doing it for 40 years, and he's like, well, my wage is not going up as a dive instructor,
Right.
but I'm here and I can't afford to go to Norway, I can't afford to go to Europe, I can't afford to go to Australia.
Right.
And I didn't want to become that guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I discovered online business, starting with publishing that first book on Kindle, then later getting into a second book, selling physical products online,
Right.
and then just kind of moving on and on and on.
Right. And then in I think 2013, 2014, you wrote a book about getting to the next level of that. And I know that that's something that a lot of people is interested in. Can you give us the very short version of that, starting out online? Where did you first start, and how did you take that to the next level afterward?
Yeah, so ironically, it's actually in front of the other Pun Space, the original Pun Space, which is about a couple kilometers away, a mile away from here. And I was sitting there, and I was making about $200 to $600 a month from my book, and I thought, this is great, but I can't even live in Thailand for that. It's not enough money to even live in the cheapest place in the world.
Right.
So I have to sell something. I either have to sell more books, or I have to sell something else. And luckily, even though there wasn't a big community then, there was a few people who had read The 4 Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and were just interested in online business. And I started just asking them, hey, can I take you to lunch? Can I take you to dinner? And I would try to find out some marketing strategies on how to sell more books, because that's the only product I had to sell. And through that process, I found someone who later, mentored me through his online course on how to sell physical products. So I was literally selling things like barbecue grills, and furniture, tables, just really, you name it. A lot of things are either manufactured in the U.S. and selling drop shipped directly from my supplier in the U.S. to my customers in the U.S. And I was able to manage all of that while traveling and living in places like Thailand.
Can you explain that, like drop shipping, in very few words, like for those who don't know what that is?
Yeah, so drop shipping is just a fulfillment method. I guarantee every single person watching this has bought something online, and most likely that item has not come directly from that person's warehouse, because it just doesn't make sense nowadays if someone's going to sell t-shirts or watches or furniture to have it manufactured somewhere, shipped to them, they store it, then they have to ship it to you. It's just a lot of hassle. So nowadays people have big fulfillment centers, whether it's Amazon's fulfillment center or it's drop shipped from a big warehouse. And what it all really means is, instead of buying inventory and storing it yourself and shipping it yourself, you make a drop shipping agreement with a supplier or a manufacturer and say, hey, every time I get an order, I'm going to send you an email. I'll pay for it, my wholesale price, and can you just ship it directly to my customer? And that's the whole model.
Right, exactly. And could you, if you don't mind, just taking us through very, very briefly, sort of, because I know you have several different income streams. You have several legs to stand on, so to speak, financially. If you could, can you sort of just take us through that really quickly, the different ones?
Yeah. So the first one was my Amazon books. So now I have 2 books. So I have 2 streams of income through Kindle. Then I had my dropshipping stores. I had 2 stores going at the same time, so I had those 2. And then I was like, okay, what else can I add to diversify my income? Because I'm a big believer in multiple streams of passive income. That way, if one thing changes, like let's say Amazon decides, hey, we're only gonna private label stuff now. We're only gonna sell directly. It doesn't screw me because I have other streams. So nowadays I have about 10 different streams, from things like real estate income to hard money backed loans through online services like Pure Street. But I also have courses on Udemy. I have my own course on monetizing blog called Income Boss. I have my podcasts, which I have sponsors for. Now I have just many streams, and I've been actually writing about the whole journey on my blog. It's johnnyfd.com if you guys want to check it out. And for the last 3 years, I've actually just screenshotted my dashboards and saying, this is what I made from this source, this is what I made from this source, this is what I made from this source.
Yeah, I saw that you do quite a lot of courses. You said that you you said that you had a mentor as well that taught you, and that's the impression I get from the digital nomad community. There's a lot of skill sharing going on, and yeah, people make money on courses and on teaching, but people seem to generally take a lot of time to meet other people. Like you say, it's not hard to find people to go to lunch with, or there are meetups all the time. Like, how much of an impact had that sort of mentality in the community had on your ability to do this?
So a big reason why I spend so much time trying to give back and pass down the knowledge is because without those people initially giving me the knowledge, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would still be broke, I would still be unhappy, or I'd be stuck somewhere. That being said, I've also realized that, especially anywhere in the world, but especially in Chiang Mai, where people are really open and friendly, every single person will give you like one chance. As in, if you ask them a question, they'll help you answer it. But just like anywhere in the world, if you don't act on that first piece of help, or if they've already publicly made it available on a blog post or a video or podcast, and you don't take the 2 seconds to Google and find that information, and you still ask that same question they've answered 100 times, they'll stop helping you. And honestly, that's why I really like recorded formats like this, whether it's a course, a book, a video, or a podcast, is because I can help a lot of people in 1 hour when that's recorded and reshown, versus having to answer that same question every single time. And I think this is kind of what a lot of my mentors, even with me, they would just literally send me a link to a blog post they wrote, or say, hey, check module 4 video 3, instead of answering that same question over and over.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's part of what we want to contribute with, also to be one of those resources for information. So, okay, so I'm sitting out there, and I'm curious about this. I've got the commute, 9 to 5, and I kind of feel that there's something else out there, and I'm inspired by this. Where do I start? Like, what would be the next step? Like, so, with sort of any general skill set level, where do I start to get that next step?
So the easiest way, what I recommend to everyone, is if you already have a skill set, see how you can take that online, see how you can make that location dependent, whether it's getting your business or your company to allow you to work remotely, or starting your own business that's completely online.
Right.
One of the big benefits for me is because I started this while in Thailand, everything had to be online, everything had to be location dependent from first day.
Right.
It's a bit harder when you're home and you're like, oh well, I'll just do all the work myself, or I'll answer all the calls myself.
Right.
Because then it's harder to take yourself away from it. Right. If you don't have any ideas on what you can get started with, or if you're not happy at your current job and you want something different, my best advice, and the reason why I put out a podcast every week, is take a listen to Travel Like a Boss podcast.
Right.
We've interviewed now 182 people who work online. They all have different types of skill sets. I would say there's probably over 100 different types of online jobs that we've talked about on there. And I guarantee you, if you listen to these podcasts, and they're all free, you can just find them on your phone, or travellikeaboss.com. Oh, sorry, travellikeabosspodcast.com.
Right.
And if you listen to them, I guarantee you there'll be something that it'll click. You'll be like, you know what? This girl's an artist. She's figured out a way how to sell her art online completely location independently. Or I met this guy, he does this, or this person who does this. That's something I'm interested in. That's what I'm gonna do. And here's the real key: is once you find that one thing, don't spend all day finding excuses or reasons why it won't work, or work for you, or work in 2018.
Right.
Just find the one reason why it could work and just go for it.
Right. And I guess at the Nomad Summit on Saturday, there are going to be a lot of people who are somewhere along that journey trying to figure out more about how they can be more independent, location-wise and financially, obviously. Who's going to be there and talk to us?
Yeah, it's going to be a great talk. So we have 8 speakers this year, but also really isn't about just the speakers. It's really about meeting 350 plus people. I think right now we have 360 plus tickets sold. So we're probably going to hit 400 people this year. We're really excited.
Wow.
And thank you. And here's the thing is, you can watch the videos for free on YouTube. And if you want to watch the previous year's videos, just look for Nomad Summit on YouTube, and they're all free. But coming to an event like this, either this year or having it planned for next year, I guarantee you, being in a room full of 400 people with a similar mindset, and probably 300 plus of them are established already, where they have online businesses, and you can just talk to them like a real person. You can touch them, you can just have coffee with them, have lunch with them, and you're like, oh wow, if you can do it, why can't I do it? And to me, that is the whole reason why we have a physical conference and not an online conference. It's not just about the amazing speakers, because even though it's great to have someone come on stage and show you how they started a dropshipping store that did $2 million in sales in a month, which is unbelievable, and and just really mind-blowing, it's even better for you to meet a few people in person that maybe they're just maybe they're making $10,000 a month, but to you, they're like, oh my God, I can do that. I met this person, he sat next to me, he's making $10,000 a month. I can definitely see myself doing that. And that's the big takeaway.
Okay, so for those who can't be here this weekend and want to see, at least see the speakers, where can they find you?
So if you go to nomadsummit.com and sign up for the email list, you might have to scroll down a bit. You can watch some of the previous videos kind of on the bottom of the front page. Then when you sign up for the email list, we will send you for free all the videos as they come out. Usually takes us a few weeks or a month to edit all the videos. A lot of money and hard work goes into filming everything professionally. But this is our way to give back to the Nomad community around the world, and we would love to see you in 2019. So make it a plan. Come out to Chiang Mai.
Great. And it's bigger this year, right? It keeps growing. It's the 4th year now?
Yeah, it's the 4th year, and every year it's grown. The first year was 100 people, second year was 250, last year was 350, and this year we're definitely going to hit over 400.
Wow, that's great. I mean, you wrote in your book about this. More people are coming into the community, more people want to work online and be more independent. And you wrote, as far as I'm concerned, there's money to be made for online for everyone. to have a piece of the pie. The more people that start traveling and the bigger this entrepreneur community gets, the more fun it'll be. The world is a big place and the internet is even bigger. You still feel that way?
Yeah, 100%. And it's so much more true. I think I wrote that book. I think that was from Life Changes Quick.
Right, yeah.
And I wrote that in 2013 when so part of that book was the Gold Watch Challenge, and I'm actually wearing that watch still today.
Right.
It's my first kind of big goal is like, okay, I want to go from basically having no money in the bank to having $30,000. And I want to be able to prove, to myself that it's possible to make money online. I want to meet people who are doing the same. And at that time, it was a really small community. Like the word digital nomad had just kind of started. Right. There was, there would maybe be a dozen people at any time in Chiang Mai that was, a digital nomad or working on a co-working space. And now it's literally hundreds of people. Right. During the Nomad Summit, we bring 400 people in. So there's probably 1,000 people in town now. Right. And everywhere I go in the world, I mean, I've literally traveled now, kind of like pretty much all over now, whether it's Eastern Europe, Western Europe, in the US, I've been Australia, and to Borneo, and I've met digital nomads everywhere, people working online everywhere. Right. And it really is fun. Like the goal really is, wherever we go in the world, to be able to make enough passive income or online income where we can, go trekking in Nepal, which I'm doing next month, right. Go scuba diving in Borneo, which I did a few months ago, right. And be able to, then kind of talk shop and level each other's businesses right, by exchanging ideas right. with each other.
Sure, yeah. All right, cool. Thank you very much. So I know you're to round things off. I know you talk a lot about accountability and sort of increasing the chances you'll achieve your goals if you have a very conscious relationship with them. So what's next for Johnny FD? Where do you go from here?
Yeah. So in 2000, the last couple of years, I made enough money now where I don't actually have to work as hard anymore, at least not for myself. I can support myself just fine now. And if I wanted to just live in Chiang Mai, I could. So now everything I do, I'm thinking long-term, thinking, how can I help others? Whether it's making more money so I can give more money to my parents, or making more money so I can have extra money to be able to create something or be able to do projects, not money-based, but really like mission-based, whether it ends up making a lot of money in the future or not. To me, that's kind of the next level. Right, and right. A lot of it is also, to be honest, from a selfish point of view, I want to be able to have, be able to plug offline for 2 weeks at a time and be able to go for a long trek. So right. My next travel destination after Chiang Mai is I'm going to Nepal and I'm hiking the Annapurna circuit, which is 16 days in the Himalayas with no internet.
Oh. So sounds great in a way. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming and talking to us. We'll see you again on Saturday at the Nomad Summit. And we'll be there doing interviews with people who are there. So if you can't be there and still want to get some of the flavor of who's there and what kind of people are doing these things, make sure to follow us there. And we'll see you shortly.